I want you to think back to a time way in the past in order to understand why they came up with the concept of marriage by law. Okay, think back to the time which it did exist. Think back to that time when there were no such thing as contraceptives. Think back to the time when there's no such thing as a condom. Think back to the time when there's no such thing as birth control. Think back to the time when there's no such thing as abortion. Think back to those times. Okay, when you think about it, then you will see that when you have sex with somebody, it is a very serious thing. Because there are many factors that are involved of what might happen. For one, there's all sorts of sexually transmitted diseases. So you would be very aware of who you sleep with. Because for one thing, yeah, it's a great experience, but you might end up getting HIV from one experience alone. Because there's no protection, no nothing. So you are risking pretty much your well-being, your possible life from the sexual act alone. So it is very important. It would be very important for you to find out about the person that you're sleeping with and whether or not they are sharing themselves with a lot of people. So that would come into play. Not just HIV, but all other sorts of diseases. And then you have pregnancy. Without any sort of contraceptives, pregnancy becomes a big issue. So women, because they're the ones who get pregnant, would have to be very aware of who they sleep with. They wouldn't want to just sleep with any man just because it feels good. They would only want to sleep with men that they feel will be there for them to help take care of the baby in case she got pregnant. She would want to sleep with a man that actually cared about her. She'd be very selective because she is the one that gets pregnant. She is the one who gains all the weight. She is the one who's going to go over the labor pains. And if the man leaves, then she would be the one responsible of taking care of the baby. So she is ultimately the one who really has to be careful of who she selects to have sex with. It is ultimately down to her responsibility to only make love to somebody that she believes will be there for her. It is in nature to be this way. Nature intended that the woman was the one that gets pregnant, not the man. So nature intended for the woman for the woman to be the ones who are responsible, have the greater responsibility in making the decision of who and who they do not sleep with. That is what nature intended. And automatically, if the women are more responsible with the way that they choose who to have sex with, then automatically it will make the men more responsible as well. Because it is the woman's decision on whether or not the sexual act will take place. As many women and many men already know, men are always up for sex. They always want it. So if the women deny it, then they don't get it. If they accept and they want it and they allow it, then the man will give it. So women are in the ultimate control. So if women are more responsible, sexually, then automatically the men will have to be responsible sexually. Say you have a married man and he has an inner desire to have an affair, and he's searching for any woman that's going to have sex with him other than his wife, and every woman turns him down because they know he's married, and these women deny him because they know he's married, then even if he wanted to have an affair, he wouldn't even be able to have an affair because no woman would even agree to engage in a sexual act with him. So he'd already end up being forced to be committed. So women really are the ultimate controllers on whether or not this world, this society, will be sexually responsible. It is the women who agree to whether or not they will allow themselves to be sexually exploited. It is the women who agree to whether or not they will engage in prostitution. It was the women who agree to whether or not they will be in a pornographic video or in a magazine. It is the women who decide how they want to dress. Do they want to dress more provocative and make men sexually aroused? Or do they want to dress conservative and not exploit their sexualness in that way? It is the women who control this sexual exchange between human beings, or the sexual experience. So, because of modern times, and women are trying to gain equal rights, equal freedoms, and they want to basically compete with the man for the man's role, what ends up happening is chaos. The men are not sexually responsible because they're already been born to be highly promiscuous, and now the women no longer, they want to be highly promiscuous. So then now there is chaos. There is no control. There is no sexual control whatsoever coming from either gender. And part of it is lots of it is due to modern technology and contraceptives and abortion. Now that there's the option of abortion, people don't really care. They know that there's always a backup plan if they get pregnant. Now, if they get pregnant, they'll just get an abortion. Now, they don't even think twice about who they have sex with because now there's condoms. They don't think twice of who they have sex with because there's birth control. This modern technology has really confused the laws of nature. The laws of nature are built in to balance things out in order to make harmony. But because we have manipulated with nature and created all this type of technology, it has destroyed the balance. There's no more balance anymore. It's just everybody trying to compete with each other and trying to exploit each other. The women are trying to exploit the men, and then the men are exploiting the women. And it's just going back and forth. It's just a battle between genders. There's no more harmony left. Every human being, man and woman, is just basically using each other for sex. The love is just gone. The concept of traditional marriage is gone. It's coming to the point where there shouldn't even be such a thing as marriage, because it serves no purpose. The concept of marriage only applied before all this technology was created. Now all this technology has been created. The concept of marriage is no longer practical.